All right, welcome back everybody to another episode of the Monty and Murdy College Football Show, and we got a little bit different setup for y'all today. We're going to try an in-person podcast. We're down here hanging out together, so we figured we'd go ahead and record a pod and
We're gonna see how it goes.
see how it goes.
It's hopefully y'all can hear us. We're doing the one microphone here in between us. It's supposed to pick everything up, but like I said, it's the first time doing it in person. We're excited to do it in person because it makes it a little bit more organic. But it is new to us, so bear with us and we'll do our best.
We also got Josh. You're going to see him if y'all are watching on YouTube. He's going to be looking stuff up for us. He'll be working like a little producer for us, so that way we can kind of stay engaged and locked into what we're talking about here. So, man, you want ready to dive in?
Go for it.
You should go ahead and get right after it. Yeah. All right. So last week, week 5, big week, huge slate, man. Bunch of games on the slate. We'll start in the Big Ten. Number 6 Oregon goes to number 3 Penn State at the time.
I guess I probably is.
And Oregon ends up winning in double overtime, 30-24.
Yeah, I mean this one, like I said, it went to double OT, but it just didn't. The game to me just didn't seem as close as what it actually ended up looking like at the end. And I know it's like, well, it went to 2 overtimes. How's it? But Oregon never really didn't have control of the game. If you watch all 4 quarters and even into the overtime, it was like Dan Lanning never seemed phased. Dante Moore never seemed phased. None of them. It just like anytime Penn State did something, it was like Oregon would just answer. But Oregon never was trailing to my knowledge. And what I learned is that, which I already kind of knew this, but defense definitely travels.
Yeah.
Oregon's defense was very resilient. But then on that thing, it's like what makes it even easier is Penn State's offense is bad. Drew Aller, 14 of 25, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. You see the 2 touchdowns, like, okay, it's not that bad, but man, he's not, in my opinion, he's not going to be the guy that's going to get it. It's going to get them to the national championship. Not this year anyway.
Well, he ain't got any time left.
Yeah.
I mean, he came back this year for him.
Yeah,
right?
I just don't think he's Penn State's guy. I don't think he's James Franklin's guy that'll win him a national championship or even win the big one.
That's big. James Franklin's biggest deal is getting over that hump.
It's 4 and like 22 against top 10 teams or something like that as the Penn State head coach. So it's not good. On the flip side, Dante Moore, you can make every argument for him that he could win the Heisman this year, right? 29 to 39, 248, 3 touchdowns. Dude is just cool, calm back there in any game. And this is, I mean, especially in this environment, the whiteout, like, it was supposed to be the where teams go to die in Happy Valley in the whiteout at night. They finally gave him a night game.
Finally, yeah.
Not a noon kickoff. And, adding on to that, DeCorian Moore, true freshman wide receiver, you can make a case for him being at least in the Heisman conversation. I mean, they got weapons all around the field. Props to Dan Lanning and Oregon for pulling that one off. I'm sure you saw the post-game interview.
Okay, let's get it out in the air, right? Does Dan Lanning do cocaine, or is he just a football guy?
People kept saying, about the cocaine, and I don't know. It looked like he was just very emotional and jacked up.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely jacked up.
Yeah.
The question is just,
I'm not going to say whether or not I think so or not. I would say no, I think he was just very emotional, but yeah. But I guess you never know. I mean, in an environment like that, you might need it to focus. Who knows? But
I mean, if we can catch everything on camera, I feel like we would have caught that at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's a new thing, but he doesn't look unhealthy.
Yeah.
But props to them. and I guess who knows, but no, overall, it was a resilient win for Oregon, and I think it kind of proves that Oregon's. And I think then they moved up to the number 2 spot in the AP.
Yeah. I haven't dived too much into the new AP.
Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Miami 3. But yeah, I mean, I think that 2 spot's probably good for them based on that win. I mean, going into Penn State, like I said, in the whiteout and being able to do that's pretty impressive. And we'll see where Oregon ends up.
Yeah, man, it was, as you were kind of going through that game, it was a defensive struggle pretty much throughout until you got to the late in
And
the
it was
third quarter.
17-3 at one point.
Yeah.
Oregon was up.
Yeah, again, the second half, they kinda took over, but, I mean, first half, real defensive struggle, but the thing about it is Oregon was able to move the ball the whole time.
Yeah.
They just weren't able to get points out of it. Penn State, on the other hand, not able to move the ball until real late in the
Well,
game.
yeah, and that's the thing too, is that Penn State defense is always going to be Penn State defense, so it's not going to be
Mm.
easy to score on them. So the points were hard to come by, but it just never seemed like Oregon was ever backpedaling.
No, then Dan Lanning, Oregon defense, they're playing good ball, and then obviously Dante Moore. I mean, to go into that environment, your first real road test, I mean,
Starter, I mean,
as a starter, yeah,
road test, yeah,
and
and
be able to
it'd be the whiteout at night.
yeah. Yeah, and be a whiteout game at night, and to really flip this, I mean, flip that home crowd on their head. I mean, in some point in the third quarter, there were Fire Franklin chants going out through the, Penn State home crowd. That was obviously before they made the rally, but I mean, the fact that you've kind of flipped it and turned the home crowd against the home team is, impressive.
Yeah,
So just through their consistent play there, and yeah, man, just solid
and
win
then
by Oregon.
Dan Lanning's not the post game interview, but the post game press conference. Is either the post game press conference or it was like the next day or something, or when they made it back to Eugene. But he was saying basically that crowd was supposed to be a factor, that they were a non-factor.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, you can always expect a soundbite
Yeah.
from Dan Lanning, but
I mean,
it's funny that
they don't have to go back there again this year, so you know what I mean? So probably
next
not.
year.
Yeah, or next year. So he's got a little bit of time before that Penn State crowd will get a redemption. But I guarantee that clip will get played the next time that Oregon does go to Penn State and gets that crowd all wound
We'll
up.
see if they still got James Franklin at the helm come that time. We'll see. But I mean, I think James Franklin is the right coach to do it. They're always one piece away, it seems, to win both a big game and to, win a national championship. It's just if he's going to be able to finally.
Well, I mean, it takes that quarterback, right? And it's just
that's the thing, right? They were saying that going into this season, Penn State, this is the most talented roster James Franklin's had.
Returning players,
but they've only had Drew Aller in the past like 3-4 years,
right?
So if they had. Hell, even if they had a Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, like a playmaker at quarterback, I think that would be the difference maker that would have made the difference in this last game against Oregon. But, not to sit here on Monday morning quarterback, but it's just writing's on the wall. So,
I mean, it's just, do you think that James Franklin's going to be able to get you over that hump that he struggled with his entire tenure?
I mean, I think so. I'm in the belief system. And I got Josh Pate always says this because people say, "Oh, James Franklin can't win the big one. Tennessee can't beat Georgia. Georgia can't beat Alabama." It's not they cannot; it's that they have not. So it's just a matter of time. How are you going to find the pieces necessary? I will agree that Penn State's most talented roster under Franklin was this year, but it's the Drew Aller thing that bothers me.
Yeah, hangs them up, right? Doesn't really give you a lot of confidence for a Penn State team that's still looking at an easier schedule going forward. That's still going to be their Achilles heel whenever they get to the playoff. They get in those big games. Is Drew Aller going to be the guy who's going to be able to win them for you?
Because they went out in the transfer portal. What did they lack last year? They lacked wide receiver production. Mm-hmm. So they went and got a couple very talented wide receivers. They're playing well, but you have faith in your guy at quarterback, and he's just not gonna. He wasn't the issue last year per se, but it's like now they have that one thing missing this year, and it just happens to be the quarterback position. So it sucks, man, for them. But
Oregon's pretty good, though.
Yeah,
Oregon's pretty good.
Hey,
so
you never know with them. I mean, 12-0 last year, and then they ran into the buzzsaw of Ohio State in the playoff last year. So we'll see.
Yeah, just a tough draw there at the end. But
I think it was a tough draw for anybody that played them.
Yeah,
trust me.
Yeah. So next game on the slate, number 11 Ole Miss takes down number 4 LSU.
They were number 4.
Were number 4
LSU, and it was 13 Ole Miss.
Was it 13?
So yeah.
So
now Ole Miss is number 4.
Yeah, so kind of swap spots there. I think LSU would drop back to work.
Yeah, I saw this one. I actually picked Ole Miss. I know we didn't do an episode, but
yeah. I mean, I did an episode.
I guess you did. Well, I sent you my pick.
I put it out there. It's in the episode.
I put Ole Miss. Yeah, it was in Oxford, and Oxford, any SEC environment's going to be a pretty hostile environment, but Oxford's not one of the top,
It's not the
right?
reputation,
But
right?
just going down there and having to beat Ole Miss in Oxford against Lane Kiffin and the struggles that LSU has had on offense. Ole Miss, I trust LSU's defense to play with the best of them, but when you have to go and play Ole Miss's offense, like they're gonna score enough points to beat you. And with LSU's offense seemingly unable to keep up with an offense like Ole Miss's,
Mm-hmm.
I just had a feeling it was bound to happen. I think they were gonna pull. I thought they were gonna pull away late, but you were texting me as we were kind of watching the game. Ole Miss was they were actually keeping LSU in it,
Yeah.
at least at the beginning. And so it's Ole Miss might be the truth this year too, but Nussmeier, man, there's something going on with him.
There's injury rumors.
I heard the rumor about the torn oblique.
Oblique.
Which it would make sense. I don't want to come out here and quote saying
You don't want to speculate.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything that I don't know, but it seems like there's something off with him. I mean, because you see from last year, right? The production from last year compared to this year, it's night and day. And being a veteran quarterback like him is just they don't really do that. They don't regress that much unless there's something going on. But yeah, it's kind of like the Brian Kelly. See, like the James Franklin, are they can't win the big one? Who knows? But
the way that LSU's defense played good enough for them to be competitive with Blake Baker, coordinated. I think they played well enough. As you said, Ole Miss. Well, I was watching the game and what I was texting you, I was like, man, Ole Miss is. If it wasn't for their mistakes, man, they should be up 20.
I had to go back and watch the game, by the way, because I was a little preoccupied with a different game.
Yeah.
But I was getting the text updates.
Yeah, and Ole Miss, I mean, they fumbled going into the freaking at like the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
Gave the ball right back to LSU, and there's just multiple mistakes that Ole Miss was making that is just keeping LSU in the game. But at the end of the day, I was just watching. I'm like, Ole Miss is eventually, if they just eventually get out of their own way, they're gonna start
the mistakes.
Yeah, they're eventually just gonna start running up the score on LSU. Which I mean, they didn't do credit to LSU, but yeah. Ole Miss, it doesn't seem to really matter who's at quarterback for them with Kiffin.
Okay, so that's why I was like, go ahead, because I think you're going. I was gonna say, how good must it feel to be Lane Kiffin, knowing that you got two quarterbacks that are really good that can go win on any Saturday,
which you very well may need. I mean, there's in any college football season, there's going to be a time where
but for Trinidad Chambliss to be Ferris State D2 last year and to come up and start as the backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Not start as backup, but be the backup quarterback behind Austin Simmons, very talented quarterback and played very well at the beginning. Gets hurt, then Trinidad Chambliss comes in and he dominates. I feel pretty good if I was if I was Lane Kiffin. But what say you?
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things, right? We've seen it. You lose your starting quarterback. It's never ideal. We saw it happen to Georgia last year with Carson Beck getting hurt, Gunnar Stockton having to come in. Right. If you're going to be one of those teams,
though, I mean, this is like
this is
more than that.
Yeah,
this guy's freaking like, I think he's in the a couple different people's top 10 for the Heisman.
Yeah, and and you looked at I think he ranks ahead of early Heisman contenders like Lagway and Manning. Those were the preseason Heisman contenders, right? And Chambliss missed the first 2 games, and he's still already got more passing yards, more touchdowns. Like he's already been more productive, even missing those games.
And you're gonna have the yards pretty quick if Kiffin trusts you, because he's gonna air it out if he trusts you, and it seems like he does trust him. And well, yeah, he's got I don't know the exact number. I don't know if you have it pulled up, but he's got 600 yards.
Yeah, I don't have his actual stats pulled up, but yeah,
passing. I could probably find it here pretty quick.
Find that for us, producer.
Yep. Pull the shit up, Jamie.
You look for. We want Trinidad Chambliss's stats,
total yards
for the season. Yeah. So does this game leave you with any question marks about LSU, or did it just for me? It just kind of solidified what we had already had question marks about them through the season. As they played Florida played them tight, even though DJ Lagway gave them 5 turnovers.
It's the lack of offensive production, and I think that is in part that I do think that there is something wrong with with Nussmeier, and I don't know what it is. I'm not going to speculate. There are the rumors out there from apparently reliable sources, but we'll see.
Don't know how much.
I mean, based on the production that you've seen, though, like it would make sense if there was some kind of injury because they're dink and dunking. They're not airing it out like they have under Brian Kelly with Jaden Daniels prior, Nuss last year. Like they were always a throwing team, and then of course on top of it, LSU can't run the dang ball this year either. So
yeah,
it's like, what are you gonna do? I was never this high on LSU anyways. I didn't think that they were a top 5 team. I'm not saying they're not a top 15 team, especially with that defense, but I mean, I did genuinely believe. Are you kidding me? I had 95%. Anyways, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I expected this one to happen. I'm gonna take a picture of this stuff. So
good. Yeah. So it's kind of. I mean, Ole Miss obviously they jumped up to like number 4 in the nation.
Yeah.
Not trying to down talk them. I don't know if they're that good.
I don't know either.
I don't
know either.
I don't know if they're there. But I do believe
it's the AP though. So
it's the AP. Like I said, we've already had our discussions. Exactly. Yeah. So but you take that LSU. I think maybe getting into the bye week. I believe they have a bye week this week, or maybe it's either this week or next week. They got one coming up. But LSU going and maybe getting us a chance to get healthy would probably be really big for them, and hopefully they can kind of
got a bye this week.
Yeah, so come out, maybe get a bye this week.
Another week healthy.
Trust me, I know about trying to get quarterbacks healthy.
Yeah, you got your own issues.
Well aware of the getting quarterback healthy and how important a bye week is. Did you ever get his stats pulled up?
Yes. He's got 1,033 passing yards since he stepped into the role.
1,033.
So
it's insane, dude.
In what is that? 2-3 games?
Yeah, that's got to be
games. I think
he's probably ranks number 6, 7 in this.
Well, I know Joey Aguilar leads the country, and he leads the country, and he's 1,400 something yards. Joey Aguilar is he
got to be somewhere right around there. You want to roll on to the next game? Anything else on LSU Ole Miss?
No, I mean, we'll see what Ole Miss ends up being. They did this to Ole Miss a couple years ago, too. They shot them up after beating somebody that seems like they might not be as good as they
I think
got out to be. It's cool to see Ole Miss, in the top 5, but we'll see if they can.
There's still some games to learn about these teams, and there's still a lot we don't know.
I got UC, Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois ended up bouncing back after getting beat down by Indiana.
I'll let you speak on this one first, since it's your old boy there at Lincoln.
That's my hate watch, man. That's my hate watch game. Yeah, so Illinois number 23 ends up beating USC 34-32. They won on a little pretty much buzzer beater field goal, kind of right there at the end of the game. Man, USC, it's a story that I've watched play out so many times, right? With Lincoln Riley coach teams. This is kind of the same old stuff that you watch. An Illinois team that hadn't really been able to move the ball too well through the start of the season. Come against this USC team and be able to find success doing so, and pretty effectively with Luke Altmaier, who I really like at quarterback. USC, obviously, Jaden Maiava, they're able to move the ball, right? Lincoln Riley can score points.
Yeah, I like Maiava under Lincoln Riley. I think he's a good fit for him in his offense, but
I mean, yeah, it appears so, right? And Lincoln Riley, he's a quarterback whisperer. I don't know. He always
got 3 Heisman winners to show for.
Yeah, right. So he's always able to make an offense score, but it's just whenever you get into these late games, it's these consistent kind of turnarounds where these teams that you would think, right, after watching what Indiana did to this Illinois team, you would think USC has an advantage here to be able to come in, get a solid win, and kind of build back. And then, you leave with a close loss, but it makes you question a lot of things about this USC team, about how they're going to be able to compete against some of the tougher teams on their schedule.
Right.
Now, for Illinois, you got to respect the resilience, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's what I was going to say was, I believe I picked USC to win this game, but I was skeptical because of Illinois' roster and them being so veteran when you lose a game like that, and they were number 9 in the country, and they are a good team, right? So when you get buzzsawed by Indiana 63-10, and you got a roster, it's not like it's just a bunch of young guys like Illinois last year had a great season, and then they have a talented roster, but young roster, so they rank them high. No, it's a veteran roster. And so when they get absolutely buzzsawed, burnt at the stake against Indiana the week before, and Indiana's, seemingly like Sig's got them right. So I had a feeling Illinois was going to, at least win or lose, bounce back, and they obviously ended up winning. They almost gave it up, of course, towards the end, but they had control that game for the majority of the game. On the Lincoln Riley thing, it just seems like he's unable to win when it really matters. At least at USC, right?
He had the one good year, and then his first year, whenever he brought.
And I think they'll do better than 7 wins this year, USC. But I don't think with this loss, but they went to Illinois, right? So if you can't win on the road, a Big Ten game on the road, like that's what good teams do. They go and win on conference games on the road. And yes, they had a great second half. That's why they came back. They almost won, but almost winning is not winning, right? So it just seems like he can't win when it matters, at least at USC. And he's got a quarterback that it seems like he fits really well into the Lincoln Riley scheme. And he's got a good defensive staff over there now. USC under Lincoln Riley was notorious for not. They basically fired everybody.
Alex Grinch got rid of that speed D, baby.
Yeah, and so we'll see what USC ends up doing this year, but I just don't think that they'll be doing anything too special when it comes to the Big Ten. If you can't go and win on the road,
which I know this is going to sound crazy, right? And honestly, I was really looking forward to USC like playing really good football and possibly making the playoffs.
Me growing up as a USC hater,
right? My
mom went to UCLA, so I grew up a USC hater. I was actually rooting for USC to do good because they're one of those blue blood programs that when they're good, college football is better.
Yeah, and that's a respect.
I was pulling for them.
That's a respectable take. I really just wanted OU to host a playoff game and get USC to come in so we could just watch Brent Venables' defense just crush Lincoln Riley. That's a personal thing for me, but I don't know if we're going to get that opportunity. So
at this point, I think if OU were to somehow just have a disaster of the ending of a season, because I think they're way past USC now.
Yeah, exactly.
Which must feel pretty good to say.
Yeah, to be on the winning side of it, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes you win the divorce, sometimes you lose, but sometimes you got to take a couple of years to figure that out.
Tennessee knows a lot about those divorces.
Yeah, winning the divorce, right?
Quarterback. Well, anyways, we move on.
USC took a L. Illinois, good bounce back.
Good game nonetheless.
Yeah, good game nonetheless.
It was fun.
So let's talk about it started out right Friday night.
I almost said we should start with this game, but
because it started out, dude, it's what set the momentum for the rest of the weekend, kind of being an upset heavy weekend, right?
Or just close games too.
Yeah, and Virginia goes in and shocks and upsets Florida State. Not as end up winning in double overtime, 46-38. And
the fastest.
Do we start with the end, right?
The fastest field rush, I think, in the history of college football.
Yeah.
The all-out sprint to nowhere.
The sprint to nowhere to just absolutely trample not just the Florida State player, also the Virginia quarterback.
Poor quarterback Squirrel White.
Yeah, dude, just gets absolutely.
We were watching that game, and I was kind of pulling for. Well, I was definitely pulling for Virginia because it was the upset. You always pull for the upset, but
yeah, we got a Florida State fan in the house. That's who you're aware.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang. Well,
yeah. Producer over here is Florida State fan.
Well, hey, you win some, you lose some. But I was, I'm sure you were too. Like pulling for you wanted to see the upset, right? We love college football when it's crazy. But we watched that play, and just all of a sudden, we just watched like the zombie apocalypse. Just swallow
Squirrel White.
The DB. I'm sorry, I don't have the DB's name, but
yeah,
I was like, man, and I thought to myself, not to take away from the Virginia fans, but I was like, man, if Tennessee Stadium, if Neyland Stadium had ground level students, where you could just run, I think everyone would die on the
Yeah.
field. All the players would get trampled, but it was crazy.
You know, for the whole
Gotta love college football.
SEC made a whole big deal, right, of the field storming after last season, right? They're like, hey, you're getting a $500,000 fine. Right. And then, I was like, man, I don't know about that. And then I watched that one and I'm like, all right, I get it. Like that violent of a field storm, like where they're just sitting right behind the end zone. Like
I was honestly more concerned for the Florida State players if they won at that point because they were all
right there, right? Like, if they'd already made their decision.
I was more concerned that if Virginia lost than if they had won. But yeah, it was crazy. But
let's dive into the actual game a little bit here. Man, it was a really back and forth game. Virginia, obviously Chandler Morris, veteran quarterback, started his career out at OU, then kind of bounced around a couple different places. And man, the way that Virginia was able to battle, get out early. Florida State was getting in their own way. Bunch of mistakes early on, a couple goal line fumbles.
Well, that was the thing too, because when I was doing my notes and I was looking at the stats, I looked at Virginia's stats and their stat line, their offensive stat line, and I was like, there was really nothing impressive. Well, then I looked at the turnover stat line on the Florida State side, and they had 4 turnovers in the game. So I was like, when you shoot yourself in the foot, you're going to keep teams that maybe shouldn't be in the game. You're going to keep them in it longer, and then they start to believe, and then that's
right. You get them into a fourth quarter game, and then that's whenever you get the home crowd.
At the end of the day, if you got a Power 4 Division I team, you keep them in the game, like they're going to have enough talent to. Once they start believing, they're gonna
right. You get the buy-in. You get the everybody in the stadium is a little questionable, especially with how highly touted that Florida State team is coming in. But you get an early lead, you get some belief, you get the crowd into it, and then next thing you know, your players are well into the game, and they believe that they can be able to pull this upset off, right? And it wasn't like it was a huge line, right? Florida State was favored by 6.5, or it opened at 7.5, but they finished 6.5.
Yeah, there's obviously you're early enough in the season still where you still got some question marks about a lot of the teams that are in the top 15 and definitely the top 25. It seems like that number 20 through 25 has been a revolving door from week to week.
Yeah, depending on the results of that week. Yeah,
right. And so there's the lines aren't going to be set very high at this point in the season, but it was the weirdest stat line for me was that, and I think it did end up coming down to the turnovers, but Florida State, they ran for 256 yards and lost. And I think that's, when you run for that much, it's like you expect to win a game, or at least if you were to tell somebody, you say, hey, you don't know the score, you don't know the outcome. Florida State goes into Virginia and rushes for 256 yards. You'd be like, oh, so they kicked their ass.
Yeah, because that's how you take a home team out of it, right? Just run the ball, be able to run the ball down their throats. But
and the storyline was the turnovers, and Virginia was just able to put the ball in the end zone when they needed to.
Right. And not to take anything away from Virginia, right? I think this is probably the best team that Tony Elliott's had there since he left Clemson and kind of decided to take on that rebuilding that Virginia.
Yeah, definitely not taking anything away from them. That's for sure.
Yeah, just a solid win, and they're now 4-1. I think they lost a close one to, I think it was NC State, or they lost to NC State 35-31. But just the belief that, and do you think any part of this was Florida State maybe looking ahead a little bit, or how do you weight that factor?
What I can say is that I know that a lot of the Florida State and Miami players and fans were already
focused on that,
kind of talking trash to each other this past week. Mind you, correct me if I'm wrong, Miami had a bye though this past week.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so that's the thing so Miami was looking ahead because that's who their next opponent.
That's who their next opponent is.
And Florida State was like, well, screw you,
Yeah, you're not going to talk trash on my team.
Mind you, they had Virginia right in front of their face, and it I'm not going to say one way or another, but that's what I will say. The trash talk was definitely there.
Yeah,
and I saw it. So
maybe looking a little ahead there, but
I'm excited for that game too, though.
Yeah, still we'll
talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah, so let's dive in to the SEC matchup of the week.
Bama, Georgia.
All right.
Kirby Smart and his Alabama problem.
He's got one.
When you look at his record against him, you would say that 1-7.
And it's interesting, right? Because Kirby Smart is dominant, especially this Georgia team at home, right?
Right.
They've been dominant.
33 straight home wins. Dates back to pre-COVID.
Now ended.
Now no more.
Now no more. And it's just this we just finished talking about Florida State, and this is why I put this game right here after it, right? Because that's a Florida State team that just beat this Alabama team week 1.
Right.
And now here we are, this Alabama team going and beating Georgia 24-21 and looking like one of the top teams in the country while doing so. Alabama kind of similar, let Georgia get back into it. They jumped on them pretty quick, kind of like they did, similar to how they did last year. In that matchup, they jumped on them a little early, and then Georgia was able to rally back.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about Alabama, right? So that people say, in the new world of college football, the new world of the expanded playoff, it's like, if you are going to take a gut punch at some point in the season, wouldn't you rather be towards the beginning of the season? Bama loses their first game to Florida State, right? It seems like that was a gut punch, a reality check, week 1. Because since then, Ty Simpson's been almost lights out.
Yep.
Their defense has been almost lights out. They just walked into Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, and beat a very talented Georgia team who just went and scored 44 on Tennessee in Neyland Stadium. And Tennessee seems like they're probably not a slouch this year.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, Bama has every reason for people to believe that they could go 11-1, and we would see them in Atlanta at the end of the season. So, Ty Simpson seems like he's making his name known. One thing I'm confused on is Gunnar Stockton, how he could go from throwing 300-plus yards against Tennessee and then turn around and only throw for 130 yards and a touchdown against Alabama at home. So it was unimpressive, Stockton was. Ty Simpson was very impressive to me. It's another case of the defense travels. I think Alabama's defense definitely traveled.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, no one's doubting that Sanford Stadium wasn't absolutely rocking that night. I just think that it could be Kirby Smart has a Bama problem. It was a Saban problem. Now it's a Bama problem. So,
well, the thing about this one is, I thought with how Georgia played was it last week they played Tennessee?
No.
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago against Tennessee. I thought that, because I had a lot of question marks about Gunnar Stockton, especially what we had seen from him at the end of the end of Georgia's season last year. I'm like, how effective is he going to be able throwing the ball? And I thought he had answered a lot of those question marks against the Tennessee team that
I would agree with you.
That I think is really good. Now, granted, they are missing some of their top players in the secondary, which could have been a factor, right? I'm not going to
on
Tennessee side,
right? Well,
in the secondary.
That's a Pat. Hey, Georgia games in the past for us.
Pat, yeah, I'm not trying to bring up any old.
I know what you're saying, though. I know.
But yeah, so I thought they had kind of answered the bell here, and then for him to come in and kind of play this game, he was 130 yards, 13 for 20, 1 touchdown. Kind of brought in some of those question marks for me, especially whenever you got.
Well, yeah, because to your point, it felt like Gunnar Stock, because the question mark going into the Tennessee game for many people was, how is Gunnar Stockton going to fare against the pass rush, and is he going to be able to throw the ball? Many people thought that Gunnar Stockton answered those questions after that game. I mean, he was going shot for shot with Joey Aguilar, Joey Aguilar, even going back to App State, everyone knew he was a gunslinger. So he was going to air it out, and he was keeping up. And so we thought he had it answered. And then, this game, it just seems like it was just unimpressive. Like I wrote on my note, I just said Gunnar Stockton, his stats, and I just put unimpressive.
Just kind of left you flat and left you flat in the fourth quarter in this game, where he had plenty of opportunities for Georgia to go, possibly rally. I know there's a question mark about whether Kirby Smart should have just went ahead and took that field goal. Looking back at hindsight, you're probably like, yeah, should have.
Yeah, you can always
make that argument after the fact, right? But in the moment, it kind of felt like the right decision to try to get it there. But if I told you kind of how you said it with the Florida State game, right? If I told you Georgia was going to run for 227 yards, probably a dub.
Right. Especially under Kirby Smart. And,
Right,
and
Kirby
the game
Smart with that
manager that he is.
Yeah. But I just don't think they got enough from Gunnar Stockton and, those talented wide receivers that Georgia does have with like
And they
Zachariah
got
Brent.
all they could handle from Ty Simpson. So
Exactly. Ty Simpson's
with
been
all the
playing.
factors coming in, I mean, props to Bama. It's not easy for me to say, but props to Bama going in there. And Kalen DeBoer 2-0 against Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and Bama looks like a weapon, dude.
It makes you wonder. It makes you think.
Yeah,
But
probably at least, one of the
what's funny to me,
out of the one-loss teams, right, with Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, now Georgia, LSU, kind of these top-end SEC teams with one loss.
I saw a tweet because I think I know where you're going. I saw a tweet, and it was like it was like somebody said, these are the most intriguing teams in college football. And it was like, it was after the weekend because Florida State had just lost. And then, so it was like 4-1 Florida State who beat Bama, 4-1 who beat Georgia, 4-1 who beat Tennessee. And it was like this line, but they're all really talented teams. And it's like, what are these teams all going to end up being?
It just shows you how crazy college football is, right?
Yeah.
You got a Georgia team beat Tennessee. You got an Alabama team that beat Georgia. You got a Florida State team that beat
Bama. And then 4-1 Virginia
that beat Florida State.
I think that's what it was. That was the order.
And then you got North Carolina State who beat Virginia. So that's the best team in the country, right?
Yeah. That chain.
The chain as we go. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the way it all kind of works out, right? The transitive property does not really work very well in college football.
No, seemingly not. But yeah, it seems like Bama. I mean, Bama. As much as it pains me to say, 'cause I used to be okay with saying it because it was under Saban, but it could just be the logo on their helmet that they just seem to figure it out.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Like I said,
season left. Last year, obviously 9-3, 9-4 after the bowl game, but
and started the season off hot, kind of ended last season.
They already got their gut check early on, so it seems like they've turned it around. We'll have to wait and see.
There's a lot of tough games on that schedule for Bama.
Hey, Tennessee comes to town in a couple weeks, so third Saturday in October.
Hoping for a rebound there. Just going to touch on some other games. We're not going to spend too much time breaking them down. Ohio State continues to dominate.
The only thing I really said about them was just that it seems like they're the best team in the country, most consistent team, at least right now. They're not necessarily blowing teams out score-wise, but it just seems like they're always in control. So I would say definitely. I mean, obviously, the AP has them. I would agree that, best team in the country as of right now. With all the craziness behind them happening.
Yeah, but how consistent they are. And, the offense is not lighting anybody up. It's not the offenses back when I forget. Dang it, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Who?
Not like C.J. Stroud, but like even before him, where
Julian Sand. You're talking about Julian Sand?
Yeah, that's their quarterback. Yeah, current quarterback, right? But I'm talking about like their past quarterbacks. Those offenses, Will Howard and what they were able to put up with Will Howard, C.J. Stroud, dating back through Ryan Day's time. It's not looking like that yet, but Ohio State kind of has that time to round
Justin
Fields.
There it is. Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields. Of? No, I was actually before him. The guy who said I didn't come here to play college or whatever. He ended up winning the national team. He was like their third string quarterback.
Cardell. Cardell Jones.
Yeah, Cardell Jones.
12 gauge.
Yeah.
I like 12 gauge. It's the last time I actually could. Anyways,
Ohio State, solid team, right? We'll roll on. Notre Dame. I gotta say this one a little quiet, right? Yeah. Notre Dame ended up kind of getting a hold of Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad. Sam Pittman, obviously, I'm sure everyone knows now that watches the show. Sam Pittman fired from Arkansas. I sat down and was not forced to watch that entire game. I was not forced to watch that entire game.
No gun to your head.
I was not forced to watch the Notre Dame Arkansas game. It was a tough watch. Fun if you're a Notre Dame fan. I mean, C.J. Carr, talk about promise. True freshman quarterback, looking like a veteran.
big for how Notre Dame started this season.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of question marks about them
Yeah.
too. Now it seems like they again basically write their own path to the college football playoff this year. We'll see, but
Not a lot of meat left on that schedule.
not a lot of meat left on the schedule. And it seems like I was already impressed with CJ Carr against Miami, but it seems like he's found his wheels now.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Arkansas defense is bad, but the Notre Dame offense had a lot of question marks after that Miami game.
Well, especially because you just didn't see, you didn't see Jeremiah Love, who's probably arguably their best player on offense, right?
He's probably one of the best players
in college football.
Yeah,
and you just
NFL wise.
Yeah, and you just didn't see a lot out of him. You were wondering when he was going to get going. He kind of caught fire in this game and kind of showed what Notre Dame's going to be able to have on the offensive side of the ball.
Petrino ball.
Looks
like that's what it's going to be right now. He
go ahead, fire up the Harley, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
Fire up the Harley. He took the interim. He took the interim head coaching job. So he took the reins when Sam Pittman got fired, and he already fired basically their whole defensive staff. So he's not playing around. He's one of the guys that's in the running for that job. There's a lot of rumors going on. Of course, Arkansas is a place to be. If you really know SEC football, you know Arkansas is a really good place to be.
Walmart money.
Walmart money, history-wise, you got a lot of people that are very loyal to the program, donors, fans, etc. We talked about it. John Gruden seems like a good fit. There's been very little rumors about him, but we talked about if Sam Pittman were to get fired, before he got fired, Gruden would be a good fit. Petrino, I mean, despite the whole deal when he left Arkansas in 2012, could be, his last season at Arkansas, that's the head man was 11-2. And the year before that, 10-3. So
I think Arkansas fans would take the shade that came with it.
I think for sitting back now, I think they would.
Yeah, just roll on. Just, hey, whatever happened,
But yeah, so that's a waiting game for us here. Obviously, when it does happen, we will talk about it.
Yeah, we'll update y'all for sure. So we'll touch on these next ones real quick. We'll wrap it up. Indiana survived Iowa. Kind of a grinder game.
Surprising game for me. I thought they were kind of going to roll through Iowa. Iowa defense is always going to be Iowa.
It's always going to be Iowa's defense.
But I thought, maybe after the Indiana-Illinois game, I thought Indiana was going to be able to score more. But it was kind of one of those. It was a gross game, but it was an Iowa Hawkeye game, right? That was
drag you in the mud, man. They're going to drag you into the bar fight.
You're gonna leave with some bruises.
Yeah,
Indiana pulled it off though. So.
Yeah, with how they're. I mean, we talked about Illinois, how they kind of come off low, Indiana coming off a high. And then, you kind of got that kind of mutual meeting point, right? Indiana coming up, playing up, Indiana playing down a little bit, or Illinois playing up, Indiana playing down a little bit. Fernando Mendoza continues to play great football. Continues to look like
he's one of those guys in the Heisman conversation as well.
So this one, I'm going to let you take, man.
Is that the Tennessee game?
Tennessee, the balls ended up escaping.
I mean, it was
over Mississippi State.
Tennessee, it was exactly that. Tennessee did escape Starkville. I remember texting you. You asked me for my score prediction in this game, and I said 38-35 or 38-31 or
you called it close. I was a little more. I think I said 38-24 or something like that.
And I had my concerns about the Tennessee defense, just with between injuries and how Tennessee's defense has been playing just this season. The pass rush has always been good, but it was the back end just with, again, injuries. And then the run defense has been struggling. So there was a lot of question marks there. So I just thought that Mississippi State, with their run game, it was going to be a back and forth. And especially if Blake Shapen was able to get comfortable in the pocket, which he didn't. Looking back, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Game, but they were able to run the ball all over Tennessee. So, 41-34 was final in overtime. Gritty win by Tennessee. Gritty win by the Vols. Josh Heupel's known to struggle in road games in the SEC. You can see now, though, he definitely trusts Joey Aguilar. More so than he did Nico, just based on the. So there was a lot of Tennessee fans on Twitter during the game and after the game that said the Tennessee offense in 2025 looks like the offense play calling wise in 2022. Who was the quarterback in 2022? It was Hendon Hooker, right? So when you have a guy that Heupel can trust, he's gonna sling the rock, and that's what we did. And how about Joey Aguilar though, taking over the game in the fourth quarter? I mean, there was a couple moments in that game where I was getting a little nervous towards the end, and converting a 4th and 4 on that last drive, a third down to Braylon Staley, resilient Braylon Staley, putting his shoulder down.
I think he agrees with you.
Yeah, he gets excited.
He's a Vols fan.
My dog gets excited when I talk about Tennessee.
Prince is a Vols fan.
But no, gritty win overall. I did note though also, I mean, no, everyone better be careful with Mississippi State this year. That team's good. That team's good.
OU doesn't have them on the schedule, and I'm glad. The Fighting Jeff Lebby's are freaking.
Jeff Lebby's. I've been telling people going into this next week, leading into the next week, man, watch out for this Mississippi State Texas A&M game.
Yeah,
in College Station.
We'll talk about it. It's actually on our schedule. Just like I said, the Fighting Jeff Lebby's, man. They're
be careful with that Mississippi State A&M game. That's all I'm going to say. But overall, good team win by Tennessee. Think Tennessee ended with 5 sacks on the game. So that pass rush is going to do what it's going to do. And we didn't even have 2 of our starters fully in.
Gonna be a contest.
Jackson Moy's going to be fully back against Arkansas. David Hobbs says apparently he's back. So yeah, man. And Jermon McCoy's probably going to be back for that Arkansas game. Little tune-up game, hopefully, for Arkansas this year. Not like last year, but
yeah, you don't want to get a ground fight. But I don't know. Here's the thing, right? What's kind of weird is you haven't seen any Arkansas players enter the portal or declared a red shirt or anything like that with Bobby Petrino taking over. So you might get a lot of fight out of them.
Rapport built between the players and
right. Yeah, you might get a lot of fight out of that Arkansas team. But yeah, man, I think it's. I texted you. I said this reminds me more of the Hendon Hooker Tennessee Vols than it does the.
You would be one of many people that have.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying I got a unique opinion on.
No. I was just saying everyone believes that this offense looks like that. Yeah. That offense in 2020.
Just the ability to connect on the deep shots that you just saw Nico
being able to go out and outscore opponents when you need to.
Yeah. Being able to get in that kind of game with the Fighting Jeff Lebby's and outscore and be able to outscore them, right? Because that's what Jeff Lebby likes to do. He likes to score from afar. That's kind of always been his philosophy. Obviously,
Fighting Fluff Bothwells. That's running back. Fluff
Bothwells. I like that.
Bothwell.
Yeah, just that being able to run against hats off to Mississippi State being able to run the ball as effectively as they get against that Tennessee front. But you can definitely see when they were able to pin their ears back and get after Shapen, they did so really successfully, and that's what ultimately ended up getting them this game.
Well, that's the thing, too, is we can say what we want about the defense, giving up 34 points, this and that. But mind you, in this game, 41-34, right? We win by 7 points in overtime. Tennessee had 2 defensive scoring touchdowns. We had a pick six and a scoop and score off a sack, strip sack, scoop and score. So
all around team effort.
Yeah. So yeah, all around good team win for Tennessee and on Arkansas.
Yeah. So only one more game I want to touch on this one. I know my little rundown has a couple more, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We're going to touch on Texas A&M grinding out a 16-10 win over Auburn. Man, Marcel Reed and that run game.
Didn't watch too much of this game, but Marcel Reed. You go ahead and I'll
touch on it. I watched the whole game.
I looked up this game. I just hadn't watched it.
Yeah, I watched the whole game on here. Marcel Reed, that offense, they were effective. Granted, hats off. Auburn's defense played really well, but you still saw those issues, and you saw those issues with Jackson Arnold and Auburn's offense, right? Yeah. Like, it's the same. This game almost ended the exact same way. Jackson Arnold had a game-winning drive opportunity again in this one. And to be able to go...
OU game?
Huh? Just like the OU game, right? Just like he did against OU. He had a game-winning opportunity, 2 minutes to go. Auburn is down 16-10, and he ends up getting sacked 2 times in a row.
Get rid of the ball?
Yeah, just couldn't get the roll ball. Stared down.
I had read that he wasn't getting rid of the ball again. But.
Yeah, and A&M freaking, hats off to them. They're, granted, it's 16 points what you're looking for. No, but that Auburn defense is really gritty, and they were A&M was able to move the ball, but they just weren't able to score against that Auburn
And
defense.
that, at the end of the day, right? Win's a win. I mean,
Win's a win, right?
what are they, 5-0 now?
Yeah.
A&M. So
5-0.
And in the SEC, you take any win.
Exactly. And the Fighting Jeff Levy's coming to town, so we'll see.
Be careful of that game.
Be careful with that game.
That game.
Man, anything else you want to touch on this week, for at least for our recap episode? For
nothing else to recap. Excited
awesome
to do it in
week.
person.
Yeah, dude, this is kind of cool. I don't know. Like I said, let us know in the comments how y'all felt about the in-person deal. I think it's cool that we actually got to do it. This is kind of how we kind of built our roots with talking college football, was just us talking ball, kind of how we did here, and that's kind of what built our interest.
But now a little bit more research.
Yes,
less opinion, and there are still the opinions.
The opinions.
We try hard to curtail those, but there still are. But no, it's a lot of fun. So we're happy to do it in person. First time, obviously, so we're working out the kinks, but it was fun.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So
computer died like halfway through, but
yeah, we'll get it recharged. As always, man, like and subscribe to the show. Tell your friends about it. Like I said, it's the best way to spread it. Best way to spread it, especially a show kind of this size. Tell your friends about it. We appreciate y'all for listening, and we will catch y'all later on our week 6 preview episode. So we'll catch y'all on that one, man. Until then, peace.